to orphans and people who are not living directly with their parents and hate it there, let me tell you this. And you're like, okay, why am I in this situation? Why was I born an orphan? Why am I not able to live with my parents the way others are doing and stuff like that? Let me tell you this. You see, because everything has a reason, and God, the universe, you, the God that is in you, the soul, your higher self, who you haven't recognized yet, knows everything. It knows why you're in such a situation. Now, let me tell you this. In most cases, orphans or people that who don't have parents are taken up by probably relatives or some people, some caregivers and things like that. Now, let me tell you, such people, when they were coming into this world, the universe, they realized that their parents were not the best people to nurture their soul, like to be the best example. I want you to look at your, you see, we've grown. I want us to have wisdom. Like, I want us to be smart enough I want us to look at these things with both the physical eyes and the spiritual eyes. You see, because everything is spiritual, and for you to understand something from this message, you're supposed to be someone who is trying to get it from the physical, because everything starts in the spiritual. If you've been following, you know that everything starts in the spiritual, everything starts in the mind, spiritual, mental, whatever, that's still the same thing. So probably when you are coming to this world, you knew that your parents are not the best examples, are not the best people that are going to help you live in this world, like to become the person that you're supposed to become. That's your highest person. Remember, the highest version of yourself doesn't look at things the way you're looking at them. The highest version of you is you living in a good life, is you living in heaven, is you living in abundance. So it doesn't look at these things. It's you who's still looking at these things. So supposed to say, what would your highest version want of you? What would God want of you? So you'd be like, God wants us to be prosperous, abundance. You get what I'm saying? That's your highest version. That's the God. So when you were coming, that's why you didn't have parents. You didn't have you chose not to have parents. You chose not to grow up in such environments because your soul knew that you don't need their parents. In most cases, those parents didn't even know how to take care of you. I'll give you an example. The people that are born with parents are probably still practice witchcraft, and in most cases, God helps them to die, and they're taken up by people who don't practice witchcraft. So meaning the highest version of you knows that you don't need that witchcraft. So your parents were taken away so that you can start afresh, so that you can learn something from these people. So if you're in a situation whereby you're hurting, people are mistreating you, the highest version of yourself wants you to go through that situation so that you can learn how to love others, so that you're not selfish, so that you know that actually love is a privilege. To know love is a privilege. You'll be like, okay, these people are rich, but then they are treating me the way they are treating me, so that you can learn that, so that you can be a better person, so that the next time you go into the world, you're going to look at the world differently. You respect everyone because you know you were in such a situation. And if you are with your parents, you wouldn't have seen this. That's why your soul. So people that are with their parents, their souls needed their parents, but then people that are not with their parents, their souls didn't need them. That's why for some people, when they're adopting kids, they take them with them so that they can live with them. They take them from their parents. You'll be like, you see parents, let's say of long ago, they would come and get probably smart kids from wherever. They take them in the other place so that they teach them new ways. They teach them of how the world lives, so that when they go back, they look at the world in a different way. If they had stayed there, that's why they'd be like, to get someone from the village is easy, but getting the village out of them is hard. You get, that's why they take the whole of you to go stay in some other place so that you can learn, like you assimilate. And that's what the colonialists did. The people that probably the first people that were here, they taught them their ways, they taught them what they're supposed to do, they gave them their education. Afterwards, they actually gave them scholarships to go also see the world, how the world operates there. You get them, so that the doctrines, whatever they're telling you, sinks in. And that's the same thing. So if you're in a situation where you don't have parents, you're an orphan, just thank God that your parents are not there. Now you can look at the world in a different way. I know it's hard to understand this, but that's the only way you're going to understand it. There is a reason, and the reason is that you didn't need your parents. Probably you were supposed to grow up on your own. That's why they tell you Jesus didn't have a father. It'd be like Jesus' father was in heaven. Perhaps, maybe, yes, but then he just had a fatherly figure. That's Joseph. You get what I'm saying? But then everything, like, you see the parents that you're not weren't born with, you don't need them. Just know whatever that is not in your life, yet at that moment you don't need it. After this whole healing journey, you'll understand these things. You understand actually why you didn't have parents, why you didn't grow up with parents, because you didn't need them. They actually didn't even know how to love you. See, if your father, the one that you think was supposed to raise you, knew what love was, they wouldn't have abandoned you and your mother. They wouldn't. But he also didn't know what love is. He was scared. He was a young person, like young in soul, young in body. That's why he wasn't probably responsible enough. And there is a reason, because that reason stems from home, from also his father. His father wasn't the best example. That's why the world, or the universe, as you were coming into this world, you chose not to grow up with such a person, because such a person was not going to be a good example. And remember, kids learn by observing. You see people that have grown up with both parents that have turned out the way they've turned out, because they weren't the best examples. But also that's a different case also, and there's also a reason for that. Get what I'm saying? So I want to encourage someone there who thinks they're in situations and they think it would have been better that if there are parents around. No, actually it's way better your parents are not around. You had nothing to learn from them. And just know this, the DNA or whatever they knew is already in your blood. You have their DNA, so you don't. That's why when people our like people that believe in the African traditional belief system, they'll go back to consult ancestors. They'll ask them what happened. You get what I'm saying? Because they know. But it's okay. So if you're in such a, just know that God saved you. So the only thing you're supposed to do is learn from the teachers that are around you. Learn from the people, and don't pick on the wrong things, because everything has a consequence. Pick on things that you think have good consequences. Because if you don't pick on things that have good consequences, you won't have learned, and these things will still happen. Will happen to your kids, will happen to wherever. So pick on the good things. That's why be a good person. Just know everything will work out for those good people. I know people might be like, you're good, but just know, if you're around people that don't believe in good, there is a reason. God is like, the universe is testing you to see your faith. Have faith. Things are going to work out. That I'm telling you. And have faith and know that there is a reason. Probably your parents weren't going to be the best examples, and your universe, the God in you was like, your highest version you was like, I don't need these people. The universe will bring me people that are going to nurture me, that are going to grow me. That's why long ago we used to be like, kids are for the entire village. It takes a village to raise a child, because they knew. Now we think we can raise kids alone. No, yeah, you're going to raise them, but you're raising them with the TV. You're raising them with the maid. Still, it's still a community still, but is the TV the best source of information? Is the maid the best source of information? You see, so long ago it used to be the entire community. So just know and pray for the grace. Pray for the grace. Pray for the wisdom of discernment, to know what's right for you, to know the right information, to know the right, so that you stay by God, and so that you know who you are, you know your purpose, you know the God that is in you. Because if you know you're the God that is in you, you have mandate, you have power to create what you want. And what you want to create is your highest version. That version of you already exists. Your highest version is like, that's it. Every time you hit something, you hit a point, you'll be like, that's it. Because that's what your highest version wants. You get what I'm saying? So if probably something doesn't work out, you know that probably your highest version doesn't want it. You thought you wanted it, the body, the mind wanted it, but then the highest version of you doesn't want it. So everything happens for a reason. Peace.